Hello and welcome to Holtonsfixit101. Today we're going to be talking about sanders and what to look out for. Welcome back. Now, sanders. Everyone hates sanding. No matter who you are, everyone hates it. It's a laborious job. It creates a lot of dust. It's a menace. I hate it. But there are a few things that probably you can make a little bit easier for yourself when doing your sanding. And some of those things I will actually show you in amongst all these sanders that I have here in front of me now. Right, we'll start off with the little tiny quarter sheet sander. Very good for getting into little nooks and crannies. This particular one is just a very cheap one, but it is good for that. It only takes a little quarter sheet on the bottom of there. It's very good. Now, to look out for when you're buying one of these is the application of how the pad actually goes on. This particular one, it's got some loops on the side here. You pull the little wires around. You just about see them on there. You pull the wires around and you trap the wire. Trap the sandpaper rather. You can get the hook and loop system that goes on there. Much easier to use. DeWalt, if I remember rightly, do the one with the hook and loop, and they also do it so you'll be able to put an ordinary sandpaper like this has got on there, but it also has an applicator that's got some points in it that actually goes in there, that actually makes the holes, so for the dust extraction. This one has dust extraction as well. I don't understand why, because it's going to get all trapped by the paper anyway. It's got no way of actually sucking the dust up, so keep an eye out for that. We'll go on up to this is what they call the half sheet sander. I managed to buy this one on a boot sale. It was only, well, I only paid about a £5 for it. So again, this one's got the trap the sandpaper effect on there. It's got a couple of spring things that comes on there that traps the sandpaper. There are better ones out there. They obviously got the hook and loop again, and they've got the holes, perforated holes in the bottom for dust extraction. This particular one is a very early make of sandpaper or sander, so it doesn't. They wasn't into dust extractions and stuff like that. Their idea of, you know, put a mask on, you know, and that was it. So very early make. But it's still a very usable, very usable machine. Right, let's go on to belt sanders. Now, this particular belt sander I bought, I don't even know what the make of it is, because it wrote on there anywhere. It's not in there. But I've made several modifications to this. One being a longer lead. But it does take a standard, I think it's 553/76 belt that goes on here. So it's a standard right across the board of normal belt sanders. This one has been an absolutely brilliant workhorse. It's got some good dust extraction on it, even though that I've put this port on the back of here, and I've actually screwed the port onto the machine so it won't come apart. It really is a beast when it gets going, to be honest with you, but it's very good. Depending on the grit of paper that you have, you know, you can, it's good stock removal. It's very, very quick as well. You have to be really, really careful about how you're using it, otherwise you put a groove in your wood or whatever you're doing. It's very, very quick. I do have the little one here. This one's an Atlas. It's a bit of a cheapie. This is one of the very, very first ones I had when I first started out, when I was a nipper, really. You know, this is it's got dust extraction and everything else, but it's not that brilliant. I've just put a longer lead on it so I can use it a bit easier. It has some ribs across the back and things like that. Things to look out for: this has got a slightly smaller belt size. Something that you have to keep an eye out for. I'm not sure what the belt size of this one is, to be honest with you. I haven't bought belts for this for absolutely years, because I don't use it. I use the bigger one if it comes to that. I do have another little belt sander that I bought. Funny enough, I bought it at Screwfix Live in 2017, and that's this little handheld Triton belt sander. I've used it a couple of times now, and it's very, very good to use. It's, you know, as you can see, you've got the things in your body of your hand, and it is very, very good to use. In here you can control it very good. I just put a longer lead on it again, but very, very good machine. As you know, all machines go, they all have the little quirks. That does have dust extraction and stuff like that. Now, onto random orbit sanders. Now, there are a selection. I've got three of them here of random orbit sanders. Some of them I've had for, but this particular one I've had for quite some time. This one I've had for several years now, and it's been quite a good workhorse actually. It's only 300 watts, and I think it's a cheap B&Q make. I've put this transition on here and put on there with some pipe clips and how excuse me, to hold on this dust bag. And this dust bag, it does get filled up quite quickly depending on the grip that you're using, but it is a very, very good machine. You know, I'm not sure what the orbit of it is, but it is very, very good machine, and I've used it for years and years and years, and it is, so many things I've done with that. So to that end, I wanted something that was a lot bigger in diameter, because this is only the small 5-inch across here. I'm sure it's 125 mil. I'm sure someone posted in the link in the description for it. But this is only the 5-inch, so you don't get a lot of big coverage over a board. So you have to, you know, go over it several times with that. So with that, I went out and got this GMC. This one here is very, very good. It's got a hook and loop, has all the holes in the bottom of here, so you can, it's good dust extraction. This actually is the filter and dust extraction holder, as you will, or dust bag, or whatever you want to call it. It's not really a bag, it's a plastic container, but that just unclips like that, and there is a transition that goes into here as well that allows you to use it on a shop vac. I've just put a longer lead, but this is magnesium base, and it has 150 mil, which I think is 6 inches of coverage on the bottom of there. Now, and it's good handle. So, you know, if you want to get good stock removal, that's your go-to machine to do that. I'm not sure what the random orbit pattern is. I think it's only about 3 mil. But I was doing a project and I wanted something a little bit more refined, put it that way. I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to buy something decent, I'm going to buy it decent. And I ended up with this is the, well, I can say it is the ultimate in sanding technology. It is a Merkur Diros, if anyone really wants to get pedantic about it. It gets plugged in at the back here via this lead, so you don't have to have the plug plugged into it. It has a DC motor. It has some weird electronics in there that converts your household AC down to DC, and it's got a DC motor in it. I haven't done a video on this at the moment, but there will be a upcoming video on this. But I'll go just over the basics of it. They advertise their sander as dust-free sanding, and I didn't believe it until I actually started using this, and it is absolutely dust-free. You connect it up to your shop vac, and I mean, I've never used a sander like this before. It is so light in your hand. Look, it is so light, and I mean, it is absolutely the bee's knees of sanding. And you have a dust port on the back here, and it comes with a dust extraction hose automatically for you, and it also connects directly straight into my shop vac. I don't have to mess around with different transitions and everything else. I just connect the hose in here, connect it into my shop vac, and go. And it's brilliant. You switch it on, it's got its own on-off switch there, and it's got a lever on the top here for using it, and that is a variable speed lever as well. The more you press it, the faster it will go. It has all the speeds and everything else. It is really the bee's knees of, it is the dog's Watsits of sanders. But it also comes with this 150mm or 6-inch base on the bottom, which is hook and loop, and it has I couldn't even count how many holes are in the bottom of there for dust extraction. But it also comes with the 5-inch, which is 125mm base as well, and there is a little spanner in there, and you undo the base off of here, and you put the little base on, and you can use it as the same as what this sander is here, and that sander there. It does both of them. But it also comes with a 5mm, and it actually says it on the back of the lever here. It comes with a 5mm random orbit pattern, and it's stock removal like you wouldn't believe. Even for a random orbit sander, it is really brilliant. But it comes with all the accessories, and it also comes in this what do they call it? It's the same as a Festool box, really. I'm sort of sure that they're interchangeable, but it's absolutely brilliant. I am going to do a video eventually on this sander, because I believe that it is such a good. It is expensive, very, very expensive. We're talking in, £300-400, but it is very, very good machine. Other sanders that you might want to invest in is probably the only thing I would say that you probably wouldn't use that often. It's not one that you use very often, but it's one of them tools that once you've got one, you won't go without it. And there's a small bobbin sander. There's a handheld bobbin sander, and it's got the bobbins on there, and it oscillates, and everything else goes round, and you can sand all your curves and everything else. It's quite hard to sand a curve with any of these other routers, even not routers, sanding any of them with a sander. Even the Diros, I wouldn't even attempt to do a curve with that. But this, you've got all the different size of bobbins that goes on here, and is very, very good. It comes with a dust extraction and stuff like that, but I've never used it that much to actually worry about dust extraction. The things that you've got to really worry about on all sanders is, I would say that use the right one for the application that you are doing. Okay, now obviously if you want big stock removal and over a board, and you got I used the belt sander for that, and I also used the belt sander if I got a piece of board that I'm not sure about whether I don't, if it's got a lot of bark or it's dirty or something like that, I don't really want to go and put that over my saw or put it over my planer knives on my surface planer, not knowing whether there's a nail or something like that. I'm not knowing what's in there, so I use the belt sander to run over that, so you're using that in the right application. And it goes for that one as well. Now delicate stuff, if you're getting into corners and stuff like that, you would use the quarter sander, or a little tiny one of those little tiny triangle type sanders as well. They're handy for that, very, very handy. But for much finer work over a sheet of board, if you're doing some fine furniture or something like that, go for your random orbit sanders, but get one for the right size for the application you're doing. Obviously you wouldn't use a great big pad like that to try and get into intricate corners. You would go for the smaller pad. So things to look for: get the right grit of paper. You're not going to get a nice fine finish with using, say, like an 80 grit paper. It's not going to happen. So use something a little higher. Go for a 240 or a 320. That will give you a better finish on the piece that you're sanding. So it's all down to you. But the main thing that I would say look out for is get one that with a decent cord. Now you'll notice that all of these sanders here all have cords that are quite long. Now there's a reason for that. I've changed them. Now anyone on my channel knows that I don't like short cords. That one's been changed. This particular one hasn't been changed. Reason being that I've hardly ever used that one. I have another one that down in my house that I've dedicated for just doing little corner pieces and stuff like that. Half sheet sander, very, very good for going over boards and everything else to make sure that it's completely level. Brilliant for that. Fast stock removal, fine finishing. Now, like I say, get the right sander for the right job that you're doing. Okay, sanding, we all hate it. Anyway, if you like this video, please click that like button and subscribe to the channel and leave some comments down below. And you know where all the social media stuff is. It is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I got it all there. So I will see you next time. Bye bye.